My question is to the Minister for Planning and Public Spaces. Can the Minister please update the House on the challenges to a fair distribution of housing in Sydney and its impact on housing affordability for our young people?
Minister.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the member for Penrith for a question. Someone who is a supporter of more housing in New South Wales, does back in the reforms that the government has done, but also recognises that for years and years and years under members opposite, that her part of Sydney was asked to do all of the heavy lifting when it came to housing, but got none of the infrastructure investment. All the heavy lifting on housing, none of the infrastructure investment, Mr Speaker. Speaker, the Minns Labor government is delivering on our commitment to rebalance housing growth in Sydney across the state, focusing on well-located homes, close to transport, close to jobs, close to existing infrastructure. The previous government spent much of its term building infrastructure in the east while putting housing in the west of Sydney, Speaker. They left new communities without the schools, without the hospitals, without the roads, without the range transport infrastructure that they needed. Right? Said, don't worry about it, we'll get to you sometime later. You'll get to you sometime later. But we've established 5-year housing targets, so more homes are built in all parts of the state, while new housing is rebalanced from the west of Sydney towards the east and towards the north of Sydney, areas that haven't been doing their fair share in the past, Speaker. And our transport-oriented development program, our low and mid-rise housing reforms apply in locations right the way across the state, from the get-go, from Bermagui to Broken Hill, Speaker. Our infill affordable housing bonus, which is delivering thousands of new affordable homes as well as market homes, is all across the state. As our legislative reforms that we passed at the end of the last year, with making the most significant changes in 50 years to the Planning Act. And our pipeline of state-led rezonings is progressing and delivering hundreds of thousands of new homes and new jobs. Speaker, since coming to government, we've finalised 24 state-led rezonings. Between them, they've got the capacity to deliver more than 79,000 homes and more than 56,000 jobs. Homes and jobs together. And there's a pipeline of 43 more rezonings underway with more than 200,000 jobs at home, and 160,000 jobs between them. They're in the north, the south, in the east and the west of Sydney, from Burwood North and Parramatta Road to Wallara Station and Westmead Metro, from West Schofields and Catherine Field to Leppington and Parramatta. But some members opposite, Speaker, some members officers have mistaken fairness for some sort of perceived culture war between the east and the west. Now, I've got news for you. A fair distribution means that we all take our fair share. We all take our fair share. We all do our bit to tackle the housing challenges that we inherited from members opposite. In fact, it was the previous government, Speaker, that made Western Sydney...
Member for Penrith.
Speaker, I seek an extension of time for more
The Minister has an additional 2 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. In fact, it was the previous government that made Western Sydney do all the heavy lifting without any of the infrastructure investment. So what was their response? And this begs the question, what was their response to our recent rezonings announcements in Bays West and Wallara? Well, we still can't get a straight answer. We can't get a straight answer. We don't know whether the opposition supports these proposals or opposes these proposals. Ultimately, why is that? Because their attitude to housing has not changed. They don't support it and they never will, Speaker. Remember, this is a party that introduced legislation to overturn the transport-oriented development program. It's the party that supports housing if it's outside their electorate, but rushes to change their mind as soon as the electoral boundaries change. It's a party that oversaw the collapse of housing construction in their last term. A mere 36,000 homes were forecast when they left government. A party that's willing to go into bat to keep a derelict servo instead of replacing it with new homes. And in budget estimates, I asked the new Shadow Minister whether the opposition actually supported the Housing Accord targets, but he couldn't even answer that. Sometimes, Speaker, people ask me why there are no MPs in the eastern suburbs or the north who support more housing. But that's not fair. That's not fair. There are MPs in the eastern suburbs of electorate who support more housing. It's just got to be in Penrith or somewhere in Western Sydney, just nowhere near them. Nowhere near them. Meanwhile, they're debating whether or not they're Yimbys or Dimbies or Adimbys or Nimbys. They can't decide once again. So it seems that they're allegedly pro-housing NIMBYs. Now, what does that mean in truth? What does that mean in truth? If you're a pro-housing NIMBY like the member's office, it means you want more housing
Members
just
of
in
the
Western
opposition
Sydney.
will come to
Just
order.
in Western Sydney. Never in the east, never in the north, always in the west. Speaker, meanwhile, our reforms are showing results. Housing approvals up, housing commencements up, housing completions up, and the most housing under construction than anywhere in the country.